So he quote retweeted Candace's original tweet. This is pretty obvious. Anyone who pretends that it is not a referendum on masculinity for men to don floofy dresses is treating you as a full-on idiot. A referendum on masculinity, I'd say like an expression of freedom.
No, you know what's a referendum on masculinity?
Oh boy.
If you cry about other people wearing dresses.
Yeah.
Right? That's a referendum on masculinity. On your imagine Ben Shapiro pretending to represent masculinity.
Oh, you're gonna do that? You're gonna do him like
Oh yeah.
that?
Oh,
I don't know.
Ben.
No, but let's watch his video that he did because I thought that
Okay.
was so good. That was my favorite part of.
Where's the video? I
Didn't
don't
you
have
have it?
the.
I think you had it open in a different tab. Maybe I was.
I don't know. Do you want to send it to me?
I'm gonna find it. Yeah, but say what you have to say about his referendum.
Okay, so this is perfectly obvious. Anyone who pretends that it is not a referendum on masculinity for men. Okay. Let's say, okay, first of all, these are the people that think like if this was happening, if their standards, if their conservative standards were being criticized like this by the left, like free society, why can't we be what we want? These leftists, they're like trying to monitor everything we do. This is not okay. What happened to living in a free country? Blah blah blah. And as all of the stuff that they say when they say like let us be the way we want to be, that means that as long as it applies to their standard, because then they go around do exactly that. You know how when people they keep complaining about like they have like a hot take and a whole bunch of leftists come down on them and like, oh look, we don't live in a free society anymore because I said some crap and now the mainstream media and all these people, these feminazis and everybody's coming after me. Like you can't be a conservative in today's society and all that crap. But then they go around and just come down on somebody just because they wanted to wear a certain clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and again, they pretending like your choice of what you're wearing is a referendum on masculinity. How pathetic are men are that this is a referendum? Like people's wardrobes, if that's a referendum on your anything, then you are pathetic, right? You're pathetic if people's choices on their fashion, on their personal choices, is a referendum on any aspect of your life. Then you're a pathetic loser. Like, no, seriously. Like, imagine if my choice in anything else was a referendum. Okay, and again, this is coming from people that have a certain standard. Okay, so think about the hypocrisy here. Think about the hypocrisy, right? Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are people that want Judeo-Christian values to be the standard of how society is. The standard is run by is like they want Judeo-Christian values to be applied to media, to schools, to the books that we read, to the government. Okay, so this is not. They don't want Judeo-Christian values for themselves, right? They want Judeo-Christian values to be forced onto everybody. Okay, and yet they think that people's personal choices is a referendum on other people and how they're like, they feel like something is being forced on them because somebody made a personal decision on their own life, but they themselves are people who want their values and their standard to be forced on others by putting that in the media and the government and schools and everywhere else. They want Christianity or the Bible or Judeo-Christian values to be taught to children in schools, to be applied in the court, to be applied in the government, to be applied into the media, and they want everybody to be exposed to it, and they want these standards to be defended, whether you like it or not, to be applied to everybody, to be applied in the workplace. So it's not like, oh, these are my standards and these are my choices and I have the freedom to be like this. They want to force everybody to be like this. And when other people are like, hey, look, I'm not saying you should wear a dress. I want to wear a dress. I'm not saying society like, oh, hey, manly men out there, I think men should wear dresses. No. They're like, I want to wear dresses. And yet they think that's how weak and fragile their worldview is. That they think this is a referendum on them. And if this is a referendum on masculinity for men, Ben Shapiro, then you don't have to worry about it at all, because this is nothing about you then. Okay?
I just sent the video to you in the private chat.
Oh, private chat?
Yes. I don't think we should watch the whole thing, but
which part of it should we watch then?
I couldn't find the exact moment, but I remember him talking about how, because people are like, oh, well, men used to dress like this in lace, or
I know what he's gonna say.
Blah blah blah.
Oh wait, I know somebody who took out that part.
That's what I was looking for.
Ali Rizvi's Twitter. They're just looking over there.
Oh wait. You start playing that video while I go look for that clip then.
Okay.
Of obvious stipulations up front. Men have always done cross-dressing. There have always been some segment of men who cross-dress. Very often it was played for comedy.
I know what he's going to say.
And the entire premise of Some Like It Hot is that it is funny when men cross-dress. That is not what the Harry Styles photo shoot is about. Right? There have been pop stars who've done this before. David Bowie wearing a dress. They always look like idiots, by the way. They always look ridiculous. But the whole point is to...
In the private chat.
Oh, okay. Maybe show this one instead. Screen share.
I love Ali's caption. God, I love him so much.
All right.
Our good friend Ali Rizvi is saying, no, can I read his caption first?
Okay, yeah.
Ali, heavy, in-depth Trump-era intellectual discourse about one of the most pressing issues of our times, courtesy of Ben Shapiro.
Okay, I like this joke and all, but it's only a joke, because it's okay for people to talk about things that are not the most pressing issues. Okay, so as long as we understand that that's just a joke, because not everything you say has to be the most pressing thing of right. Okay, but listen. Wait, why is there no audio?
Did you not do the tab?
I did do the tab. I don't even have audio.
Let's assume for a second,
there we go.
The honesty of some folks on the left who at least acknowledge that femininity and masculinity exist. They also have indicators, outward indicators. Dress has been, for virtually all time and in virtually all cultures, an outward indicator, which is why the Bible explicitly says that it is against cross-dressing, for example. Okay, but in virtually every culture, men and women dress differently. This does not mean that all men dress the same and all women in all cultures dress the same. It means that in every culture, there is a distinction between how men dress and how women dress. The stupidest form of the argument that I saw yesterday online was, well, in Scotland, they wear kilts. That means that a man in America wearing a skirt, a floofy skirt, is the same as a man in Scotland wearing a kilt. No, because they also distinguish between how men wear clothes and women wear clothes in Scotland, too. It's just that men wear different clothes than men in America. It's the most idiotic thing. People are like, well, yeah, back in Roman times, men wore togas. You understand? Those were basically just dresses. Yes. And women wore a different form of clothing at the time. Women and men were distinguishable by dress. They've always been distinguishable by dress in virtually every human culture. And noting that men wore floofier stuff in the 16th century in Britain does not change the fact that women wore completely different clothing in the 16th century in Britain. Right? This is a category error, you morons. To suggest that because men wore something like a kilt in Scotland, that if you transferred over to America would look more feminine. Therefore, a man wearing a skirt in America in 2020 is just the same in the male-female paradigm as a man wearing a kilt in Scotland in 1590 is insane and idiotic and ridiculous on its face, and we all know that.
Okay, so what?
Pretending that men dressing like women is not about feminizing men is ridiculous, because they are overtly celebrating the fact that styles is feminizing masculinity. So this is all a big gaslighting effect, right?
He's gaslighting.
Oh.
No, here's what's happening. So he's saying, okay, that when people say, like, for example, if you look at the founding fathers of United States, or like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
you know, you can see they were wearing stocking, or if you look at like a Louis VIII painting, you can see he's wearing stocking and
high collar,
high heels and stuff. And he's like, that doesn't matter, because what matters to him is that they were wearing different clothes, so you could tell men from, yeah, that. So he thinks like he's being, first of all, this is a new thing, okay? That's not what people were saying. They're just changing the argument when they being called out, because people are looking at like, oh, what's happening to the fabric of society? Men are wearing floofy clothes and stuff. And after they showed them that actually traditionally men were wearing floofy clothes and dresses and stuff like that as well, now they're coming up. This is a new thing they're saying. Like, well, actually, we're not against like floofy clothes or stuff that looks like dresses. This is a straw man. Let's pretend that our argument originally was something else, as if like you guys didn't get it. We're like, all we're saying is that men and women clothing had to be different. Not that men have to wear like suits and all. Obviously, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that as long as it's different, as long as every society, men are wearing something and women are wearing something else, that's what matters, to keep the fabric of society intact, apparently. First of all, citation needed. Show me where. Show me like, why is it important for a society for a civilization to be able to keep intact, for men and women to be wearing different clothes? Like, you know, why, if they're all of a sudden wearing the same clothes or interchanging it, why does that threaten society? Okay. Second of all, is he against women wearing t-shirts, for example? Because last time I checked, both men and women wear t-shirts, right? I think they're lying. They're like, no, we just want you guys to be different. But if women right now, they know how ridiculous it is to go and complain about, like, let's say you see a woman in a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah, pants.
Like, yeah, just jeans and t-shirt. Do they complain about it? No. It's just something about men in dresses that does something to them. It's about their own insecurities. This is not, they want to pretend like, okay, listen, as long as men and women different. No, we know we're seeing what's happening. There's some transphobic disgust inside you that happens when you see a man in a dress. Because if this was about men and women wearing different clothing, you would be as butthurt to see a woman in jeans and a t-shirt, and you were like, why is it the same that both men and women are wearing jeans and t-shirt, and you don't get butthurt over that? Also,
Armin, it's quite simple. It's a misogynistic double standard.
Right.
A woman becoming like a man is not seen necessarily as threatening in certain contexts, but a man becoming like a woman in almost all contexts is seen as threatening, worthy of disdain, disgust, and punishment. Because to be like a woman is to be inferior, or to be seen as giving up your superior status is supposed to be seen as inherently shameful and worthy of ridicule.
Okay, can you tell me how different this is, this guy, and from this woman? Like, he's like, traditionally, men and women were so, as long as they're different, apparently that's all he cares about. They just need to be different, okay? I mean, this seems pretty similar to me. Look at these. Different. They're not that different. Like, they're just wearing robes.
Yeah, but they're different styles. They're wrapped differently.
I know, but they're kind of the same. They're not that different. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
the only difference is like the only difference. The only difference.
Culturally, there would be a significant difference.
No, I mean, I'm saying if you go into ancient Rome, I mean, the only differences that you could highlight our stuff is because the boobs need to be like look at this woman. Okay, you see this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and look at this man, right? They're both wearing. This guy is going to war, so that's his. Is wearing something different. But look at the woman. She's wearing like a white, and then she's like has a color thing that covers it. You see this?
Yes.
And the man is doing the exact same thing. You see that? She has this white under. I don't know what do you call these. I don't know what to name these. And then there's a colorful thing covering it.
Yeah,
Like
but
this
the build
woman.
of what she has underneath is different.
Yeah, but the difference is only because of the physical difference in the body. It's not like a different fashion statement being made here. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's only because you have boobs sticking out or something, and that needs to be addressed when it comes to your fashion. And he doesn't. But other than that, when it comes to like actually making a fashion statement, there's not that much. I mean, okay, like the difference between this woman and this man right now is much less than the difference we have today when it comes to clothing of men and women. That's what I'm saying, right? So this is not like a change in the norms of nature that, oh my God, men and women are wearing the same thing. And even if, oh yeah, sure, men wore stuff that would be considered feminine back then, but the main thing is that it was different. I'm like, well, is it that different? I mean, sometimes it's different. Like, look, for example, this man is wearing something. What?
Pick Your Poison is saying Romans wearing dress is not gay, but Roman males having sex with other Roman males is pretty gay. Yeah, like or the Greek tradition of pederasty. Yeah, like
I mean, being gay doesn't mean feminine, to be fair.
no.
But yeah, but okay, but here's what I'm saying is that Ben Shapiro is trying to like. He's like saying we're gaslighting, but he's like gaslighting us, and he's like pretending that the argument was always something else because they're being called out by saying like, oh, we need to go up to traditional values of what civilizations were always like, and men shouldn't be wearing floofy dresses. And then when they were told that floofy dresses, men always wore like floofy stuff all the time, right? And they're now pretending that their argument was something else all the time. The argument was like, okay. We're not talking about floofy dresses. What we're actually talking about is men and women having to be different. And if we keep going and looking in history, and there are sometimes you can see examples of men and women having very different clothing, but there's also examples of like not that different. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of examples of situations where they were kind of the same, right?